water element of curiosity. Let's start with what curiosity looks like out of balance. Out of balance on one side is really kind of old style sales training where, you had we call it agenda type curiosity, which truthfully isn't really curiosity, but we call it agenda. Somebody's asking you questions. You've been in this situation where somebody's asking you questions and you can tell it's just they're leading questions and it feels like it's just they're not really getting you, they're just driving you in a certain direction. So that is agenda type curiosity, and that would be water out of balance. On the other side, we all were told curiosity killed the cat, don't be so nosy, all of these things, right? Children are to be seen and not heard. This is conditioning that we got that has us not be curious and be afraid to ask too many questions. So instead of asking questions, we hand somebody our business card and say, oh, call me if you're interested. And unfortunately, that's not going to work either. What you need to do is you need to step into the water element in balance. And the water element in balance is where you are deeply curious about this person in a way where you really ought to get this. They are both talking themselves into working with you while they are discovering more about who they are and what they're going through. This is really, really powerful. You can say things like, tell me more about that, or I'm curious, you said earlier, and then you fill in the blank with something that they said, and you ask them to expound upon what they said. And you just get curious and curious. And what was that like for you? Or what if it keeps going like this? How's that going to be? And you can ask questions like that where you get deeply curious, right? Because the water element is be curious. And they will both discover more about themselves and talk themselves into working with you if it's a good match, if you do this well. Now at the Client Attraction Summit, we go deeply into the water element and you do an experiential exercise where you really get curiosity in your bones. I find that especially as coaches and holistic practitioners and heart-based entrepreneurs, you're naturally curious about people or you wouldn't be doing the thing that you do. And sometimes people save their curiosity for until somebody signs up with them. And I want you to start being more curious with people ahead of time. Find out what their biggest challenges are, showing up in service in the earth element. And then get deeply curious about those challenges and deeply curious about what their life is going to be like if they don't make the changes, and deeply curious about what they want instead. And when you take this into your conversations, you're going to find that it's going to transform the way that you feel about these conversations, and you're going to be letting them talk more. Really do a lot more listening, less talking, and use your curiosity, and you will find that people will happily talk themselves into working with you if it's a good match.